it's Julie Hines. I am so excited to be sitting with the Lindy Korn. Hello.
Hello.
Fabulous person, you.
Oh, what a nice introduction. It's so nice that you say such nice things about me.
I was thinking about this today when we were going to hang out and talk with each other, that I described you to my mom. And I said, this woman has done everything. She is a legal goddess. And you have. And
Sounds like a salad dressing.
I hadn't thought of it that way. But I wanted to look at and talk to you about how you got to where you are, what you're seeing, what's happening right now, and what advice you might have for women. So first off, okay, Lindy Korn, I'm imagining you as a little girl. Did you dream of being a lawyer? I mean, how did you get into this?
Well, I had parents that allowed us at the dinner table or the breakfast table to, as we ate on Sunday mornings, chocolate cake and Pepsi for breakfast. We would talk about the news, we would talk about whatever was a civil rights matter, what a social justice matter. Our house was like this cooker of how can we make the world better? And actually, there's a saying or a phrase called tikkun olam in Judaism. And it means to do a good act to make the world better. And so our household was filled with that. Every day of every year, it was wonderful. And so I guess I learned from watching my parents, who were activists for minorities all of their lives.
Okay, so that's what really drives you every working day.
Yes, it's like going to the movies. I can't think of doing anything else, and I can never imagine stopping the work that I do with the people in my firm and with persons who choose to come to speak to us. I'm grateful for all of that. But the point is, change doesn't happen in some big committee in Washington. It's one person at a time, and it really makes a difference. Well, actually, it's interesting. At one point in my career, I was the first woman to run for town justice in the town of Amherst. I lost by like about 500 votes, but at that time, you know, I was young, and the incumbent had been there for many years, so it was a good race.
Wow, how courageous!
But the thing, yeah, I walked every 3rd street in the town of Amherst. At that time, it was like about 55 square miles. I don't really know today what it looks like, but at any rate, the point is, after that, a few years later, I was appointed by Mario Cuomo to become a commissioner of workers' compensation. And so it was sort of like an appellate judge. It's also, there's policy making, but we sat in 4 panels of 3, and we went throughout the entire state, from Buffalo to Hempstead and Hauppauge and Brooklyn and Albany and Binghamton and Syracuse and Rochester. And at any rate, we had these calendars of really complex cases. And I started to actually do sort of a statistical study of what was causing these people, especially the stress cases.
Right.
They would just call them stress cases. And a lot of, I remember in correctional facilities, you know, at a 20-year mark, all of a sudden you would see a lot. And so I would question, well, why is it? What's happening in the workplace? And so from that decade of being a commissioner of workers' compensation, I basically did a study of what's happening to people. And I found that harassment, sexual harassment, or a hostile work environment based on other protected classes like race, religion, disability, you know, their language, or their customs, it can lead to a political discussion, right. And then you have you could have violence in the workplace, or you could have people targeting each other based on their religious beliefs. It's not quite as clear cut, but it does come out. And let me just, for instance, one example is the gay, lesbian, transgendered community. When they are in the workplace, people who think that they're immoral tend to react very badly to them. And there are problems that arise and that really is the root of it. Whether or not you can prove it is a difficult thing, but that's one example of where religion comes into the workplace.
Right, wow. I see you as being the voice for people that are feeling powerless. You're also, outside of your job, really philanthropic. You do a lot of work for the community. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Well, I think it's really just an extension of my work in that I believe in fair housing, so I want to be, there. I believe in sexual orientation and the rights of those who have not been fairly given a chance or have been discriminated against, and certainly the transgender community is one that I care a great deal about. So I'm supportive of these groups. I'm also supportive of and try to be supportive to other religions who are under attack for their cultures, and we've seen the Muslim community and the Jewish community, in recent times being under attack. So I care about all of those people. I care about. Actually, there's a certain type of discrimination that has to do with caretaking responsibility and people with disabilities in the workplace.
Okay.
And that is another area, going back to your last question, that is growing, and so I care a lot about that because it really impacts people's lives and their ability to take care of their children, their older parents, their spouses, their partners, and at the end themselves. I will say one thing that I'm very interested in is the therapeutic psychological community and the legal community in my area of law. We need to be talking to each other more often outside of a trial or outside of a case. I mean, my ideal office would have next door all of these, social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, and then there'd be massage therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. All of us are needed so that the person who's the plaintiff, the employee who's been discriminated against, can actually be powerful and be healthy, because discrimination really hurts, and it really affects people that eat too little, eat too much, sleep too little, sleep too much, people who have anxiety, depression, people develop TMJ, which is the chewing and grinding disorder, people who have other disabilities that are being treated and are fine, all of a sudden they become exacerbated. So this is a health issue. So I'm really interested in sort of cross-pollination and in collaboration, because the holistic approach is the only one that makes sense.
And Lindy Korn, thank you so much for partnering with 96.1 The Breeze for Western New York Working Women, and thank you for watching.
I'm Lindy Korn, and I'm proud to partner with 96.1 The Breeze and Western New York Working Women.